Hello to the side and back. My name is Tokiko Uzuru, also known as Toki, and in today's video I will be finally talking about how I feel about toxic positivity in the religious and spiritual communities. Before I get into the actual video, there are two things I need to do. The first one is a quick disclaimer. I have an entire video talking about my religious disclaimer, so if you want to click that right there, it'll take you to it. But the TLDR of that video is I am not here to hate on anybody's religion. I am here though to educate on problematic practices when it comes to religion. This is not a video bashing religion itself or any specific religion, but we are talking about the negative parts that no one likes to talk about. And the second thing, after I get that disclaimer out of the way, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and comment below any type of other examples I don't say in this video on toxic positivity that you have personally dealt with or witnessed. And with that, I can segue into today's video by defining what I mean when I say toxic positivity. The way I'm defining it is forced positivity or ignorance to reality, like what's actually happening. This could be as small as someone telling you not to be sad if you're sad, to being an entire thing of gaslighting you into thinking that you're just holding on to something when you shouldn't. That is the range here. It could be just like misplaced or misused inspirational quotes where they're trying to tell you to only be positive and only look at the positive things. Or like, yeah, but don't look at that. That's negative. You shouldn't be looking at that. You don't want to invite that type of negativity into your life. Like, no, you're a spiritual person. You shouldn't be looking at things that happen on you. You shouldn't be looking at all of the wrong things that happen on YouTube. I'm not just a spiritual person. I'm a person that also creates content on YouTube, and I should know exactly what is happening on the platform that I use frequently. Or you don't have to worry about anything. Everything's fine. No, the earth is on fire. Everything is not fine. But again, typically it's either, oh, we're just programmed to say something like that because we ourselves can't handle that type of negativity. Or it could literally just be someone trying to manipulate you into thinking that it's all in your head and everything's fine when it's not. Segue from manipulation over to that type of manipulation and the spiritual / religious communities. So in cult-like religions or cultish religions, basically Mormonism, I believe Catholicism, corrupted Catholicism, and Jehovah's Witnesses, they all have this thing about not thinking about negative things and not saying negative things. Like, apparently you can't curse, like say swear words. And most of the time, this toxic or forced positivity is solely used to go ahead and manipulate a massive group. By claiming that if they think about the negative things, or if they ever try to look at it from an intellectual perspective, that they're losing their faith. When honestly, they're just asking questions and trying to get answers. And as much as I want to get on these particular religions when it comes to this type of manipulation, it also happens in the otherwise spiritual community as well. You get all of these spiritual gurus telling you that the best way to ascend to like the 5th dimension is to ignore all of the negative things in life. Which honestly, from my perspective, life is supposed to be a decent balance. You don't have to be consistently positive 100% of the time. but you also don't have to be consistently negative 100% of the time. The best way to live life is to experience both the lows and the highs. But if you're just sticking your head into the sand and claiming ignorance about these things, you will never be able to learn and grow as a person, whether spiritual or not. If something that you did years ago still affects me today, it is fine for me to go ahead and say, hey, there's this thing that you did years ago that is still affecting me today, and I wish we can go ahead and talk about it. And like, side note, don't try to put a time limit on how other people process through their own trauma. In order for us all to learn from our mistakes, we're going to have to look at the mistakes, which is what a lot of YouTubers don't realize when they do apology videos on their mistakes. They just automatically make an apology video. Depending on the YouTuber, they make more than one, and then back off of social media entirely until like everything dies down and they can slither through the back door of YouTube or whatever social media they were infamous on. As much as the toxic or forced positivity or sticking your head in the sand to ignore the negativity is prevalent in the religious and spiritual communities, it's also very relevant to, like, even if you're not a spiritual person. And it irritates me even more when I have to deal with those who think that it's an okay thing to say. Because a few weeks ago, I was waiting for my mom to get out of the salon because she was supposed to be getting her hair done. And this lady was handing out flyers to people in the parking lot that day. I don't know if she thought that I was sad, or she might have thought that like my face looked sad or something. But she was telling me, don't be sad. And I'm sitting here thinking that this lady doesn't understand what I've had to go through to get to where I am right now. When I was younger, I emotionally checked out most of the time. You know how most people go through the fight or flight response? Apparently there's like this other response that's on top of that, which is called the freeze response, which is basically where your brain has way too many things that happens where it cannot handle. Your brain cannot handle this type of trauma or like this type of event, so it just decides to emotionally check out because it wouldn't be able to handle it. And I've stayed in that state for most of my life, all if not most of my childhood. And like, I have only recently realized that that's where I was, and I am slowly coming down from that. But it angered me so much because I have not felt sadness, or not have been able to properly label an emotion I was going through as sadness. So one, I'm kind of angry because she thinks I'm sad, and I'm like, I'm not sad, I'm fine. I'm just angry, and it's very sweaty out, and it's very hot outside, which is making me sweaty. But I'm getting even more angry at the fact that she thinks that telling me not to be sad is going to automatically make me not sad. And that's my personal experience with this entire thing, which is why I'm very passionate when it comes to talking about toxic or forced positivity. On the other hand, it would be classified as sticking your head in the sand and ignoring the negativity. To put it all into perspective, my personal practice is not just about positivity and only focusing on the positive. My personal spiritual path is balancing the the positive with the negative, because I can also use the negativity. Sometimes the negative energy is a lot stronger than the positive, and if I can use it for like something, I don't know, like the last push of a marathon or something, then I'm changing that said negative energy into something positive that I can actually use. You can use negative energy, especially in things like banishing, hexing, cursing, or even like protective warding. Don't try to force someone into the box of positivity, especially if they are not even close to being neutral at that moment. And on that note, it is time for me to do the stereotypical YouTuber outro, where I, as a stereotypical YouTuber, would ask you to do the following. If you like this video, you can press the like button. If you want to see more videos like this, where I specifically talk about things that I'm very passionate about, and it somehow deals with like the spiritual part of my life, you can hit the subscribe button. And if you want to be notified of whenever I post and be one of the first few ones to go ahead and be at the video, you can hit the bell icon and turn it to all notifications. Once again, any type of questions, comments, concerns, ideas for future videos, or your own personal experiences with being forced to be positive or toxic positivity, now that I've defined it, can all be put into the comment section down below. And with all of that being said, my name is Toki Kuuzuru, also known as Toki, and this is Toki saying Toki out.